Hi and good evening. Kim Dunn here from Positive Young Minds, and I'm a psychologist. So here we are on this lovely evening. I was hoping to get to you a little bit earlier today, but that's just how the day panned out. So topic today is about happiness and mindfulness. And why is mindfulness important in our exploration of how to increase happiness in our lives? Because research tells us that we are most happy when we are fully focused and aware on what we are doing. When we are walking through life thinking about the next day or later on today, or what happened yesterday, or what might happen in the future, or ruminating over things we don't have control over, we're not as happy as when we're fully immersed and thinking about what we're doing. It's not even what we're doing that matters the most in happiness, it's our approach to it. So for example, if you're standing there doing dishes or ironing or folding washing or doing some sort of mundane chore, when you can fully think about and bring your attention to what you are doing, that will increase your subjective level of happiness. I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it? So, but it's really easy to give it a go. And mindfulness, practicing mindfulness is something we say is relatively simple, but not that easy. Number one, it's a new habit, and as we know, changing habits takes time. And number two, it's an activity where we inherently fail. So it can be easy to give up. The process of mindfulness is to do with tuning our brain, thinking about experiencing the task we're at. And because our brain is designed to problem solve, to look for threats in our environment, and to think a lot about stuff, it's not always easy to bring it back to focusing on what we're doing. So what you'll find is you'll start off going, okay, so imagine you're washing dishes. So you can imagine you're touching the water, cleaning the plates, noticing how that feels and how it looks, maybe the smell from your dishwashing liquid. And while you're practicing this, all of a sudden you'll start to think about something that might have happened during the day. And then when you notice that's what you're doing, bring your attention back. So there you go. So when we talk about mindfulness, basically it's broken down into two parts, formal, informal. So formal mindfulness is normally what we associate with meditation. So sitting down and doing a formal meditation practice. Whereas informal mindfulness is a bit more to do with the dishes example. So it's something we can incorporate in our day-to-day life. So if you're one of these people who just can't imagine actually sitting down and meditating, look, by all means give it a try. But you don't have to take that approach, at least not first. You can practice on doing everyday things. You can also practice, when you're walking, anywhere you are. So how do we do it? So a little bit before I spoke about, the noticing the feel and the smell, and we do it by using our senses. So noticing what you see, what you hear, what you're touching, smell, and see, hear, smell, touch. What have I forgotten? There's 5 senses. So you're bringing them, and taste. And obviously in a lot of the things we're doing, we're not tasting, but there are certain activities like mindful eating where you can use taste. So remember, focus on the situation, approach it with all your 5 senses, and fully experience it. The second part of doing a mindfulness informal practice is one, so using your senses. The second one is the attitude you're bringing to the practice. So with mindfulness, the focus is on having a non-judgmental, open, curious, and we would like to think a kind approach to the practice of what we're doing. So non-judgmental is just because we're describing things how they are rather than trying to attach labels to them. So if you're doing the dishes, instead of saying, oh, okay, here I am, I'm doing the dishes. I'm noticing that this water's a bit cold, and I'm noticing that it's taking me a very long time. You can see that maybe the attitude isn't the most open attitude, and I'm using dishes because it's something that I certainly don't enjoy doing. So the attitude's important, the openness is important, and remember why we're doing this, because it's found that when we're actually fully immersed in what we're doing, we're happier. I know, it's amazing. Give it a go. I really want to share more with you about mindfulness, but for today, the two takeaway things are informal, formal. Informal is day-to-day tasks. Formal is sitting down practicing a mindful meditation. So that's the number one takeaway today. Secondly, we do it because it's shown to increase our level of happiness. And thirdly, the attitude that we bring into the practice is really important. And I'll talk more about that next time. So when you're watching this after, please feel free to leave a comment or question about mindfulness. It's a bit of a buzzword, so there's lots of things floating around about it. I will come back and have a look at it later, and we'll continue the conversation. So I'm going to put a little challenge underneath for those of you doing the challenge, and a little YouTube link. It's very short. It's only a couple of minutes video that you might be interested in. Okay, so that's me for tonight. I'll check in again Sunday. Maybe I might check in tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, so we may have a day of rest and an opportunity for you to practice some of the things that we've been talking about. But yeah, let me know how you go. I'm really curious. And don't forget, there is no fail. There is just try